So here's your Farzy 5. We're going to start it out with number 5. Number 5, Miles Sanders. Let me start with the negative. What the hell, man? What? I know there's rust, okay? I'll acknowledge that. It's not an excuse. It's an explanation. I know that there is rust when you haven't played, 3-4 weeks? And now you're coming into a whole different offensive game plan where running is the most important thing all of a sudden, and throughout your entire career, it's always been pass, and now you're actually running the football. All right. Don't fumble. Please don't fumble. Don't do it. I know when you look at the stat sheet, and this is what I always say, numbers don't lie, but they sure as hell can deceive. He had 1 fumble yesterday if you look at the box score, all right? He had 2. He had 2 fumbles because I'm counting that one that he fumbled even though the whistle blew because play was still going on, and he doesn't know what's going on around him. Have you ever been in the scrum? You ever played football like that? Like, if you ever played, the one thing I can take away from organized football is how hard it is to catch a ball that's over your head because of the shoulder pads. It's very difficult. The other thing is, like, if you're in the middle of a tackle, it's very rare that you hear that whistle, especially if you're in the middle of a scrum, middle of a bunch of guys trying to take down one guy. Oh, wait, his whistle? Okay. It's like it's got to be almost a whisper down the lane type of thing. Oh, the whistle. Oh, it's whistle. Oh, I got to stop playing. So you still got to protect the football. That ball can't go on the ground. That's half of Miles Sanders. That's the negative portion of it. He did say after the game he's not going to do it again, so fear not. That's the half of Miles that's negative. Now let's go to the positive. 94 yards on 16 carries. 94 yards. Those are the numbers right there that I know Miles Sanders can accomplish on a weekly basis. Because what did I say going into this game when I said, well, Miles Sanders is going to play in this game? It's going to be great. Miles Sanders, throughout his career, has been one of the most talented running backs in all of football. And you can't say that. Look at his numbers. Yeah, exactly. Okay, numbers don't lie, but they do deceive. I'm talking about talent. All right, I'm not talking about stats. In order to get those stats that show off and highlight your talent, you have to have a head coach and a play caller that is going to call plays for you. And that's something Miles Sanders has never had until he stepped on the football field yesterday. Never had. Doug Peterson sure as hell wasn't doing it. Now he actually has somebody in Nick Sirianni that is focusing on the run game and realizes that the best version of this team is to take their best unit, which is their offensive line, and throw it in the defender's face and say, deal with this. Number 1 ranked run defense in the NFL, New Orleans Saints coming into South Philadelphia? Not today, fellas. They came into this game yesterday. The New Orleans Saints came into this game with the best run defense in football. 72.9 yards per game is what they allowed on the ground. 72.9, best in the NFL. The Eagles doubled that in the first half. By the time the Eagles were done this game, they tripled the amount of yards per game allowed on the ground by the New Orleans Saints. More than tripled that 72.9 for the rest of the game. Who would have thought we'd ever see 4 straight games by the Eagles offense where they were putting up 200 yards rushing? I feel like I'm watching football in the 40s. Like, what the hell is this? I'm here for it. If this is the best version of you, throw it in the other team's face. Let's see the best version of you continuously. And that's what you got in this game. And Miles Sanders is a big part of that. Yes, half of it, fumble. Don't do that anymore. Please stop that. Other half of it, 94 yards on 16 carries, part of another 200-yard game by this Eagles offense. Miles Sanders, good to have you back. And now Jordan Howard, we'll wait to see what happens with him. He'll go through an MRI. Hopefully he's okay. It was a nasty hit that he took. He basically did a flip, landed on his forehead, and I think they said it was a back injury. All right, let's see how that comes out. Whatever it is, I hope it's not long-term. I hope he's okay. Hopefully he'll be at practice this week, but we'll see. If he's not, then you're looking at Kenny Gainwell be activated again because he was the one running back that we talked about going into last week that most likely was going to be the one to step aside. You can't sit Boston Scott down after the game that he had against the Broncos. You're working to sit Jordan Howard down, and you're not going to tell Miles Sanders, well, let's take a little bit more time. No. So now it looks like Kenny Gainwell, if anything is really wrong with Jordan Howard, it looks like Kenny Gainwell will come back into the fray. Miles Sanders comes in at number 5. At number 4, and it feels great to say this, Fletcher Cox. How about that? He had a tackle for loss yesterday. He forced a fumble yesterday. He nearly had a damn safety yesterday. But Trevor Siemian, he's slippery. He's spry. And he got away from it. But Fletcher Cox, paid to get into the backfield. He got into the backfield, paid to force fumbles. He forced a fumble. Didn't have to really play any screens yesterday either. So there you go, Fletcher Cox. It's the first time he's been on this list all year, so great to see Fletcher Cox make it onto the Farzy 5 for the way he played yesterday. Really, I mean, those are the big plays that he made yesterday, and I thought held down the line of scrimmage rather well, defensively speaking. So that, and he also fought off a double team to help force that fumble as well. And one of the things we talked about a lot throughout the years, he's getting too many double teams. He finally fought through one, so that was great to see. He comes in at number 4. Number 3 on this list, in terms of importance, he's number 3. In terms of who I love the most after this game, he's number 1. But on the Farzy 5 this week, he's number 3. Jordan Mailata, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan Mailata is now every defensive lineman's daddy. I don't care who the hell you are. You now call him daddy. All right? That's how you're going to refer to Jordan Mailata from now on. Daddy. That's what you have to call him. Cam Jordan has to call him that. Who else has to call him that? Davenport has to call him that. Actually, Davenport has to call him that twice because Jordan Mailata owned his ass on a couple of different occasions. One, and this was disappointing, Jalen Hurts got pushed out of bounds late. He was a step out of bounds, and then he got the little shove from Davenport, and Mailata took issue to that. It was almost like a Chris Baker, Jason Peters type of moment when he was standing up for Nick Foles all those years ago in the second year of Chip Kelly. That was almost like that type of moment, except it didn't get as physical until later in the game. But I love seeing Jordan Mailata step up and not only do a great job blocking, which is the number one job of a left tackle. I mean, let's get that out of the way. But also showing the passion and leadership that he showed when he went after Davenport, saying, dude, that's my quarterback. What are you doing? Like kind of getting in his face a little bit, letting him know, hey, the ref might not have thrown a flag, but I got you. Ref might not have thrown that flag, but I saw what you did. And later in the game, tempers flared a little bit. And then next thing you know, you see them scrumming on the ground. Little rugby scrum, if you will. Love seeing that from Jordan Howard. By Jordan Mailata. The other thing was, again, I think there was a play to the left side, and I think it was a run by Miles Sanders, and you just saw Jordan Mailata just give a little, just give a little forearm. There's a little push, one arm, knocking Cam Jordan down. Oh yeah, all right, I'm here for it. I'm here for it every second. As a matter of fact. So that was great. Jordan Mailata comes in at number 3. Number 2 on the list, Darius Slay. Man's incredible. Man's outscoring offensive players now. 3 touchdowns last 4 games. Somebody put up the numbers. I didn't follow it up, but does he have more touchdowns than the Lions over the last 4 weeks? Because it's quite possible. This is what you signed him for. And I know this is now the perfect scenario for Darius Slay because after the Avonte Maddox punched out that football in Detroit and he took it to the house, after they punched out that football against the Broncos and they took it to the house, this was a pick 6. This wasn't a scoop and score. This wasn't anybody else involved in the play. This was him getting up there, jumping a route, and being able to take it home. And then I don't know if the link leap, is that what they're calling it? When he jumped up on the stands and just kind of started waving the crowd. I don't know if that's going to become a thing. The leaping at the link. I don't know, but I feel like all leaps are they have to be just Lambo. But you know what? I'll take it. I like the celebration. I loved how fast he was on that route. I love how instinctual he was on that route. And when your defensive player scores 3 touchdowns in 4 weeks, I'm here for it as well. So shout out Darius Slay. He definitely gets into the Farzy 5 as well. Number 1, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to make sure I get this right here. When it comes to what you saw from this Eagles team and what they were able to do scoring-wise, first quarter, they scored 2 touchdowns, both of which, well, the first one was Dallas Goedert. There's no way he wasn't in the end zone. Came down the defensive player, rolled in, should have been a touchdown. The Eagles, oddly enough, quick snapped it. They didn't wait for a review. They didn't challenge it. They just said, the hell with it. It's 1 yard line. Our run offense is going to get it. Our rushing offense will get in that end zone. Sure enough, next play, Jalen Hurts runs it in for the touchdown. Then 5 minutes later, Jalen Hurts gets his second rushing touchdown. They're up 14-0 after the first quarter. The Eagles then didn't offensively score a touchdown until Jalen Hurts with 4 minutes left in the game. Almost 3 quarters. You went without scoring another touchdown after looking so great in the opening quarter of that game. That's a little worrisome. You settled for a lot of field goals there. Jake Elliott, great game by you, no doubt. It's hard for me to put a kicker unless it's a game-winning field goal. It's hard for me to put a kicker in there. But that's a long time. And the defense allowed them to still put up 29 points, excuse me. But one of the things I did tell you going into this game, that this was going to be a team in the New Orleans Saints that we're going to score a lot of points late in this game. Trevor Siemian, after a fumble 2 weeks ago, helped put up 22 points against the Falcons in the fourth quarter alone. Last week against the Titans, they put up 9 points in the fourth quarter. Nothing worth bragging about there, but still a lot of points in the fourth quarter. And then this particular time, they put up 22 points again in the fourth quarter. So they're a late scoring team. When other teams are like, you know what, I think we got this, they start rattling up the point, racking up the points. So that was just something that I was expecting from the Saints. And you were waiting for someone to step up and make a big play. And I remember when Jalen Hurts was walking on the field for that last touchdown drive of the game for the Eagles. And I remember thinking, go make a play. Jalen Hurts, go make a play. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside made a play in this game. By the way, I have a negative on him too, by the way. But he had a catch. Good for him. But you wanted somebody to make a play. And I was hoping it was going to be Jalen Hurts, whether he was going to make it with his legs, with his arm, whatever. Make a play to cement this win. Make a play to nullify all the good vibes that were going the way of the Saints in this game. And that's why number one on this list of Farzy 5 for this week, Jalen Hurts, ladies and gentlemen. 3 rushing touchdowns in the game. Heads up play after heads up play. Never felt like he was putting the precious pigskin in peril, making heads up throws, making good throws throughout. If I had to nitpick and say there's one throw that he really should have back, it's that little out route that Devontae Smith ran that it looked like the ball was out of Jalen Hurts' hand just a little too late. Instead of throwing when he was making his break, he waited till he started to get upfield. And that's just, you can't do that. You got to time that better. And that was the catch that Devontae Smith ended up making, but going out of bounds. That ball's going to come out of Jalen Hurts' hand a little earlier. But that's it. Other than that, smart heads up, athletic plays, time and time again by this quarterback. And when you have a quarterback like this, it's going to make a play for you that late in the game, when it seems like everything else is failing, that's ultimately what you want. You want to feel like you always have a chance to win. And Jalen Hurts is certainly approaching that. In a game like this, where you still feel like you had the ball, the win in hand, he was the guy that say, all right, I'm going to go seal it up right now. And he put on a move that, again, I will compare to Carl Banks, Randall Cunningham, Monday Night Football back in the 80s. That's what that play reminded me of. Sheer athleticism, finding a way to make a play. And that's exactly what Jalen Hurts did on that particular play. There was another couple of instances that you saw that were some deep balls thrown. The one to Miles Sanders. I know some people might criticize Miles Sanders for this. You got to come back to the ball. It is very difficult to come back on a ball when you're streaking up the field. Jalen Hurts maybe put a little bit more mustard on it, and the throw gets there. Miles Sanders comes back to it a little bit. Maybe he makes that catch. The ball was there. Defensive back came over. The safety actually came over and broke it up. There's not a lot you could do on that particular play. It was a good play by the defensive back there. Yes, it would have been nice to see Miles Sanders come back for it. It's a little hard when your body is going one direction and you got to come back a little bit to try to catch that football. That's a little bit more difficult, especially when you're a running back. Wide receiver, yes, I'd expect a little bit more. Running back, not so much. But that particular play, definitely one that you would have liked to see complete. But the ball was there to make the play. Miles Sanders able to reel that in. You're looking at a touchdown right there. A couple of different instances in this particular game that you saw. Dallas Goedert had a couple of drops, but again, he should have had a touchdown early in this game. I was overall just really impressed with what the Eagles were doing. Defensively speaking, I'll give another honorable mention here to Jonathan Gannon. I didn't think after last week you'd see another aggressive game plan. I saw Alex Singleton charge Trevor Siemian, and Trevor Siemian just said, nope, not here for that. Spike it into the ground. You saw a couple of occasions where they did have an all-out blitz. An overload. What did Quentin Michael tell us 2 weeks ago? Hey, those blitzes against the Chargers, yeah, there was 12 of them, but they weren't really blitzes because you weren't sending 5. You were still sending 4. You were dropping a defensive end back in coverage to blitz a cornerback. Now you saw overload blitzes. I saw Marcus Epps. I saw Avonte Smith or Avonte Maddox get into the backfield on corner blitzes there and a safety blitz as well to get into the backfield where you were rushing 6. That's what I want to see. I saw Derek Barnett in the backfield. What? That's what you have to do. And I know it's Trevor Siemian. You could get away with doing that. But just like the offense, you got to do what makes you the best possible defense. If it's blitzing, blitz. If it's trying to force a mistake, force a mistake. Now, what does it all mean? Well, here's what it means to me. You now have the New York Giants, who are going to be on a short week because they're playing the old Monday Night Football game tonight against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Coming off a loss. Hopefully they're pissed off. Hopefully Tom Brady spanks them good. Saquon Barkley looks like he will play tonight for the Giants. But you're going to be facing Daniel Jones next week. Sunday, I should say. Like I said, short week. Going to be a rough one for them. You can get away with a lot of the same stuff against Daniel Jones that you could against Trevor Siemian. You can be aggressive. You can force him into mistakes. He's a mobile quarterback. He'll run. He'll make plays. He will. But if you're going to force him into mistakes throwing, this is the way to do it. It's to get after him. Make him uncomfortable. Make him beat you. And you're also going to be very aggressive at the line of scrimmage if Saquon Barkley's playing in that game as well. We'll see how he comes out of this game tonight. But bottom line is, just like we were saying since the win against the Lions, sure, it's the Lions. But you can take a lot of those same schemes and philosophies, cut them out of that, and paste them into other games. And that's what the Eagles have done over these last 4 games. Even the Chargers game. Hey, it's good to see the effort. At least there's 12 blitzes. Fine. They didn't get home, but at least there was 12 of them. They were aggressive. They started doing that in some other games. It worked for them. They started running the ball against the Lions really well. They added it to their other games. Oh, my goodness. All of a sudden, they're 3-1 in their last 4. All of a sudden, they're 1 win away from being a 500 team. All of a sudden, you get to this point in the season when it comes to what does it all mean? You got the Giants, the Jets, Washington, Giants, Washington, Dallas. And Dallas lost yesterday to the Chiefs. Thank you, Kansas City. But when you look at all those games, those are all winnable games, especially if Dallas already has the division locked up at that point, and they're going to give Dak Prescott the day off. We said get to this point in the season, stack as many wins as you can. Now they're at that point in the season. They got the win against the Saints. I picked them to win against the Saints. They got the win. They went out, you're talking about an 11-win season. They have a hiccup on this schedule at some point, which they're bound to do. No team's as great as you think they are. No team's as terrible as you think they are, unless they're the Lions. But when you look at the schedule, I said get to this point in the schedule with as many wins as possible, and then you'll see yourself start to really stack wins. You can't play down to any of your opponents from this point on. Here's the thing I love so much about the way they're running the football. Nobody could stop it over the last 4 weeks, which is really nice to see. The other thing that I like is that when you run the football this well, you control the game. Like, look at what the Saints did. And they had no time to make up for that deficit because the Eagles were eating clock with how they were running the football. And when you can do that, when you can control time, you have a magical, mythical power. And that's what the Eagles do. When you control the line of scrimmage, you have that same power. It aids to that power. So for me, when I watch it, when I see how this all unfolds, just keep it coming. Just more of it. Just order extra. I'll order everything on the menu from this point on when it comes to the rush game or the running game for the Eagles. So that's what we're all here for. But again, you got the Giants, the Jets, Washington, Giants, Washington, Dallas. Very, very winnable games as the Eagles are jockeying for, dare I say it, playoff positioning. What? Ladies and gentlemen, this is quite the turn of events in the Philadelphia Eagles.